and I spent $50,000 building a global brand, and for a long time, it looked like it was the biggest mistake of my life. What up? It's your boy Jay Blaze, rapper, entrepreneur from Los Angeles, California, traveling around the globe. Red carpets, celebrities, blog posts, radio play. But honestly, that's not what everything was like. That's what was happening on the outside. But on the inside, I was trying hard day to day just to keep it together. Yeah, behind the scenes, and I would say this with every artist, the real problem is keeping everything aligned. Teams, partnerships, vision, work ethic, values, everything got to align, and it's like juggling with two hands and you got 6 balls. One of the things that is so difficult about being an artist and being in Los Angeles, California, and being a creative is you find a lot of people who just want to use you. And I started working with this influencer, and we did a lot of great things. He had over 700,000 followers, but he wasn't making any money. And from the start, I always kind of felt funny that he wanted to use me, and I could tell that he was carrying old baggage and he didn't really want to be great. He hyped me up on the idea of, we're gonna do great things and I'm going to be a great client for you and I'm gonna work super hard. But in reality, that really wasn't the case. There were a lot of red flags from the beginning working with him. And I want to say, choosing a client now that I know it is like choosing a partner, but I ignored all of those red flags. We made over $200,000 in a very short time doing brand partnerships and YouTube. I took his YouTube from 0 to 300,000 subscribers in just 12 months. And we also traveled all around the world. I got him his first passport. So we were doing a lot of major things, but that's when I realized success doesn't always equate to stability. I learned something, no matter how much money is coming in, from the outside looking in, I would say 98% of people only get money from a paycheck. I always made sure I paid them every Friday up front. If anybody knows me, when it comes to money, I always pay people right away. I've employed dozens and dozens and dozens of people, and I always pay people on time, in full, in cash, and do my best as possible. But when they give me their best as possible, because that's super, super important. And no matter how much money was coming in, if your values aren't aligned, if your character isn't aligned, your work ethic and your goals aren't aligned, the cracks will start to show, because some people just want attention and other people want to leave a legacy. And I can say he was definitely one of those type of people who wanted attention and just focused all on himself. He didn't really care about paying people. He barely even wanted to pay me. But when it came to paying a cameraman, or when it came to paying a scriptwriter or an editor, he would always make them work for free even when we had the money. And what I realized is he didn't really want to empower me. He wanted to keep me small. Sometime I have to look at a situation and, am I gonna move on, or I'm just gonna be in a shadow? So I chose to move on, and it's no bad blood, and I wish him well, but it was definitely a learning lesson. Oh, that was a failure. I really don't think it was a failure. I count all of those things as not only learning experiences. I was actually single and something was missing in my life when I met a very interesting young lady from another country. She was actually from Germany, and I met her on Instagram. Came out to LA, we fell in love, and she ended up moving there, and she ended up being there for 5 whole years. Crazy enough. And I taught her a new profession. It started out with her running my nonprofit, HaterzSTayBack, and her producing my music videos. And I even paid her from a budget that I had to produce my music videos just to get the footing. And then after that, I taught her how to be a content creator. In less than 3 or 4 months of us being content creators together, we actually ended up on the news. And then within a year, we got a YouTube billboard in Times Square and in Los Angeles for the Mariah Carey All I Want for Christmas campaign during Christmas, their biggest campaign of the year. Who would have thought? And we got brand deals with companies like Got Milk and Morningstar Farm, and we were traveling all over the world, and we were building an audience that wasn't just watching, but they were also highly engaged. People were just so tied into our relationship. But of course, things started to crack under the pressure, because that's a lot of pressure for anyone to handle, so I completely understand. When you're building and rebuilding a career over and over and over, it's all about longevity. I never do anything that is not going to be for the long haul. So I never look at any of these things like, oh, I started over. No, I just acquired more tools to build something bigger and better and faster and cheaper and more efficient and all of the grandiose things, right? You get so good at your craft that you can piece together or build anything. So I never forget, I was building this artist and he took off so fast. I'm talking about within months, he literally had a video on Hot 97. This is unheard of for a brand new artist with barely any following, and it just went super crazy. I put our videos on TV, I got write-ups, I even got deals on the table. And all of this happened within a year or two, but he was just so highly impatient. He didn't realize the longevity and the hard work that it took. And honestly, he was getting influenced from his family and friends. He was not only my artist, but he was also my partner. So the pressure was on. His family was looking at him like, why are you doing it this way? Even though none of them have had success in the music industry, they were hearing him on the radio and seeing him on the TV, but they really thought as consumers that that's the day that you blow up and it's not a process of hard work. And he kind of fed into it. And unfortunately, with over $50,000 left in our budget, he quit and squandered it. He wasn't ready, I get it. It's a lot of pressure. Thank the Lord, we still have a great relationship. We're still great friends. At first, I thought I was just building a career, but I realized the people who make it very far build a system. You know, attention by itself doesn't take you anywhere. How many artists have we seen that are famous and broke? We've seen a lot of famous and broke artists. You need a system, you need a financial system, you need a management system, you need promotion and marketing system. You need to get comfortable building different systems for the long haul. And sometimes systems can fall apart. So sometimes you have to know what you're doing to be able to rebuild a system, right? All cars work the same, whether they're electric or gas powered, they just have little tweaks. And if you know the overall concept of building a car, guess what you could do? Rebuild another car. So it's the same thing with actually learning the ins and outs of the entertainment business and building systems around that. Because once you build a system, you can keep building it and building it and building it and building it, and you can make it better and better and better, and you can speed it up and make it go faster, and you can make it perform better each time. Yeah, of course, I spent $50,000. I probably spent a lot more than that, but let's just call it $50,000 for now, you know. But I realized something. I got to a place that most people never do. I learned how to build something real that works, and I learned how to take it apart and rebuild it and enhance it and improve it and put rims on it and put spoilers on it and change the exhaust so it goes faster and make it do tricks and donuts and all kinds of turns. You know, I learned how to do that, but with brands, with people, with companies, with attitude, with perception, with attention. Guess what? When you get in front of a stage full of people, when you get in front of a huge camera on a sound stage, when you get in an office, game on. Okay, that's your stage. Business is the biggest sport. So if you want to learn how to play it, make sure you download the How to Make Money on Social Media ebook and join the movement. HaterzSTayBack. So the music is definitely the soundtrack that got me through it, right? I have this new EP called The Best Is Yet to Come. And I was going through some pretty terrible times lately with family and friends, which is why I decided to even make this, right? These are things that I'm actually going through in real time and also overcoming them in real time over and over again. And I'm doing it in front of the world with social media. And the mindset that got me through it was haters stay back. You know, let them stay back and watch, because there are so many people that I've been able to prove wrong, and just by being consistent, you know, beat them with consistency, kill them with kindness. That's what I always say. And if they're hating on you, they don't see the vision, so what? Keep moving, they'll see it eventually. This is just the beginning.